Yes, I'll tell you why you should listen to this episode. First of all, Dr. Mike Israetel joined us. He's the most muscular science of muscle guy in the planet, and he told us the 80-20 of getting super fit and buff as someone who's busy, leveraging muscle memory, avoiding fat memory, which, yes, that is a thing, finding the right balance between work and rest. We also talked business. He's obviously someone crushing it with millions of subscribers and trillions of dollars that he makes, and he shared how just a year ago, things weren't going so well, and he almost burned out. And he talks about how taking time off is the biggest growth edge for ambitious weirdos like us. He also did an exercise critique of the Crooked Man, this 19-year-old kid on Instagram who only trains one side of his trap to become more crooked. And then we had Crooked Man actually join the episode to get advice directly from Dr. Mike. I don't know if that was such a good idea looking back at it now, but if you know Dr. Mike Israetel, you know his humor is very dirty and inappropriate. So our secret mission for this episode is to subtly set him up to make as many inappropriate jokes as possible. And spoiler alert, this episode ended up being full of so many inappropriate, dirty jokes from him that we may actually get in trouble. So I guess welcome to the Driven Podcast, where we are inspiring Jordan Peterson to clean his room. We're going to have Dr. Mike Israetel join later, because as always, we're starting by sharing the best nuggets of the week. Something unique that we found, or a hack we discovered, or a 200 IQ insight we had. Man, I figured out a hack to get addicted to doing difficult things, and it came from a quick conversation with my roommate. So if you think about it, why are things addictive in the first place, right? My uncle Huberman, he would say, oh, it's just because of the dopamine pathways. The broad view is just, yeah, if it's cool and fun, it's addictive, right? But I think there's one key ingredient that will make or break it. And so my roommate, he came up to me and he was using these nicotine lozenges. Have you tried one of these before?
No, I haven't.
So I was like, that's interesting. I hear more about it, that there's a benefit to it and whatnot. But I was like, aren't they addictive? And he said, no, they take time to kick in. So they're less addictive because your brain doesn't make the connection. And I'm like, that sounds like bro science. You know, that sounds like, yeah, logically speaking, like, bro, yeah, your brain doesn't link it. But I looked it up on the Consensus app. By the way, Consensus app, highly recommend. If you ever hear any bro science, just go to consensus.app. It's an AI that researches millions and trillions of studies, actually 200 million. It's a lot of studies. Searches and analyzes them to see if your bro science has some validity to it. You can also just use a custom chat GPT. It's the Consensus GPT. I'll link it below. Yeah, it's like having Andrew Huberman in your pocket, basically. And I looked it up, and he's right. It is less addictive because you have less of a reinforcement cycle. So it has a slower delivery, which reduces reinforcement, because if you think about it, cigarettes, super addictive. They deliver nicotine straight to the brain within 10 to 20 seconds via the lungs, which leads to a strong immediate reinforcement equals addiction. Whereas nicotine lozenges take around 80 minutes to reach peak nicotine levels in the blood, dampening the feedback loop. So that got me thinking, and it made me realize if alcohol took 3 to 5 business days to kick in, there would be no alcoholics in the world.
No, I'm gonna drink it all. You drink and then the next morning you're just like, ugh. You just don't know why.
Wait, what do you mean?
If it took a long time for alcohol to kick in, like it takes 12 hours. Like you take a drink, you go to bed, you wake up, you can't drive.
Yes, you just have the hangover.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I've been a good nephew. I've been listening to Huberman. When I wake up, first thing I do is go on my balcony. The sun blares into my innocent eyeballs and dries them like crazy. But later in the day, I have a boost of energy because of the, let the sun hit your eyes for 10 minutes. And it works. It really works. But I'm thinking if the effect was immediate, it would be super addictive to go and let sun hit your eyes in the mornings, right? Like if you felt an immediate strong boost, and if you feel like you just took a line, and but I have to use my prefrontal cortex brain to be like, I know this is good for me. Later in the day, I'll feel better. So it's not like I'm addicted to it, but I'm like, I know logically I should do this. And it's also easy to miss, right? So it's really all about delay. The more delayed the feedback loop is, the less addictive. So that got me thinking, how can we get an instant reward for difficult things? Like, how can we just tighten the feedback loop for those things? Because I think that's when they become addictive.
That makes sense. Do you think the like the instant hit from the sunlight, because obviously it doesn't kick in till later in the afternoon, but maybe that's why some guys sun their balls instead of just their eyeballs. Maybe that is instant. Just the
I should try
testosterone
that.
release is just
I should
powerful
try
and
that.
overwhelming.
Yeah. You have instant, like you need to hump something. No, but seriously, I'm like, it got me thinking, what could be an immediate reward for something, right? And so, like, imagine every time you work out, you instantly got high. You know, everyone would be super ripped. Or the moment you take, like, get the courage to approach someone and you go do it and you find them attractive and you make your move, both of you instantly have an orgasm, right? Like, there wouldn't be a dating crisis. We would just be, doing our thing. It wouldn't be difficult. The instant reward, right? And so I noticed working out for me, it doesn't really take discipline. I oftentimes use it as a distraction so I don't have to do other things that are more difficult, like writing, doing work, doing admin stuff, emails. But I noticed that when I work out after the first set, let's say I do a bench press or whatever, I have a pump, and that immediately makes me feel good about myself. I look better. I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, the pump is here, right? That's like an instant, like, addictive thing. And I think people who are overweight, they miss out on that because you don't see the pump. So I think one of the best things you can do if you want to get addicted to the gym is get really lean so that you have the newbie results soon and you see your pump, because it does get addictive and it does feel good, right? Same thing with working out, just like putting on an epic playlist. I think, like, the God of War 3 soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like, when I put that on, I'm just like, all right, let's climb the Olymp and kill all these gods, and I'm get my revenge, whatever, right? Or I think I told you this earlier. Todd Herman, the author of The Alter Ego Effect, he was talking about how he puts on a Darth Vader helmet when he writes.
Why?
It's super goofy and weird, but it's because it makes him step into his alter ego of, like, being like this, like I think it just creates a lot of certainty in him to be like, what I'm writing is genius, it's gospel, it's incredible, right? And so there's something to it. Like, and what are some other hacks? I think going, like, even just like Tony Robbins was talking about this. He had like dozens and dozens of missed calls, and he was like, man, I can't get back to all these people. He just did a tour, did all these events, jumping up and down, shouting at people, and he realized, why don't I just go into the jacuzzi and then I take these calls? Like, just finding a way to make it more fun, I think is an interesting thing to think about. Things that you want to do more of. How can I get an instant reward, like something, right? Not an external reward, because actually Huberman talks about how when you make it about an external reward, like, let's say, okay, I'm going to get a cookie after I do deep work, it actually diminishes your long-term motivation for that thing. You want to find joy in the activity itself. So that's what I've been thinking about recently.
I think that's critical and you can attack it from both angles, because I've noticed that things that I do a lot, or that I've been doing a long time, and I'm good at them, I feel good as soon as I start doing them. But there's a lot of resistance for newer things that I'm, like, not so good at yet, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously, if you're good at something, you're gonna sort of get that dopamine hit really quick because you're kind of already addicted to that thing. But then the question becomes, like, well, how do you get there? Because that takes a long time. You got to get good at it. So it's like, if you can make it fun right now, the first few times, then maybe you'll stick with it. And what you said about the with the Darth Vader helmet, the alter ego effect guy, that reminded me of this. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He doesn't like doing TV news. So he wears his underwear or his pajamas or whatever the hell these are during interviews. So, like, he's tuxedo up top, but he knows the whole time, he's like, I'm in my underwear right now. And
I
it's just like
love
fun
that.
for him.
Yeah. You just like playing your own game kind of thing, and you're like, I'm gonna have fun with this. I love that.
I'm doing it right now. I'm commando down here under the desk.
Oh,
I won't be standing up.
oh. Yeah, we'll see if your camera lifts randomly at like whenever we're reacting to something that includes attractive people. We know why. We're already starting with the inappropriate jokes. Like Dr. Mike Israetel is going to join later. He's the king of that, so we'll see how much of that he gives us. But yeah, I think we can get a bunch of really like let's add a counter and we get maybe like 30 of them.
30.
30 inappropriate jokes. I think we can do that.
That's a good goal. Are we telling him we're going to try to max this out here?
No. That's the secret mission for the episode.
Cool.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
We'll just see. We'll just set him up to, we'll just set him up and I think it'll be fun. Another thing, Patrice Friedman, he came on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and he's this guy who builds cities on the ocean because all the land is already taken and he wants to start a new country. So like, okay, let's just build cities on the ocean in new countries. And he talked about how he replaced his mouth bacteria to never get cavities again. And I actually had a thought about that because I was like, because Emat was like, oh yeah, I'm doing that immediately. But I immediately went like, it sounds too good to be true. Would you do it?
I want to know more. With any of these things, like, I want to see someone live to 150 with the stem cells before I get the stem cells. You know what I mean? And so like with the mouth bacteria, like I the way he pitched it was like your normal bacteria, they help you digest your food, which is good, but then they digest what they get out of it and they make an acid, and that's what gives you cavities. Cavities are bad. So you can get this new bacteria that doesn't produce the acid, and now you don't get cavities.
It actually produces ethanol, he said, right?
Ethanol.
Which is
Bro,
alcohol.
You're getting drunk every time you eat?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He said it's so little that it doesn't affect you, and it
Okay.
can't even be traced. But it kills off the other bacteria and stuff like that. And I am careful with that stuff because I have heard, for example, things like this. Like my fundamental belief is that there's no free lunch. Whenever somebody says, "Oh no, this is like just super easy and everything's just there's no side effects or anything like that," I'm like, we don't know. We don't know. So, for example. So this guy, his name is Dr. Nathan. Forgot his name.
It's Nathan. Dr. Nathan. Dr. Nathan says this.
He's play the clip.
Mouthwash, you have to stop. Mouthwash kills the oral microbiome, shuts down nitric oxide production. Fluoride, you have to get rid of fluoride in your toothpaste. Fluoride's an antiseptic, it's a neurotoxin, and it shuts down your thyroid function. Number 3, you have to get rid of antacids. Antacids completely shut down nitric oxide production. So if you're using mouthwash, you have to stop.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So there's always a lot of doctors saying a lot of things. He's the expert on nitric oxide, and one of the things he said is that if you're using mouthwash, it basically kills the mouth bacteria. We talk a lot about the gut microbiome, but the mouth microbiome. And that also links to all these other systems in your body, for example, the gut, right? The gut microbiome, and also affects your nitric oxide production, which nitric oxide is very important. It is basically a molecule that improves blood flow. And if you have better blood flow anywhere, it just improves everything. It's almost like, as far as I understand, it's like the delivery system of nutrients. It's like you have Amazon Prime everywhere in your body, right?
Nice.
Like, okay, your toe needs an extra testosterone. I don't know. We're such bro scientists here,
Got
but
some
let's say
toes, dude.
Let's say that one of the toes is like, hey, I'm doing squats right now. Give me some extra testosterone.
My pinky toe's trying to become an alpha, bro. It's trying to be the big toe.
And it just sends it straight down, like same day delivery. It's a good thing. Oh God, we're gonna have Dr. Mike Israetel on. He's gonna debunk so many things that we're saying.
I think he's gonna say we're totally right.
Yeah. Yes.
We're gonna go, why'd you get a PhD for that? Why'd you even study? Like, we figured it out.
Yeah. With that, quick little thing I wanted to plug. Not sponsored, but I always like to add something tactical, something that you're like, okay, here's something I can use. So I asked my biohacker health nut friends who, sometimes they go a little far with things. They they believe in certain spiritual, like the water has a spiritual frequency, whatever. I'm like, I skip those things, but they were saying, okay, fluoride can mess with your nitric oxide production. I always believed, hey, fluoride, I think is really important for the teeth. Like 9 out of 10 doctors recommend it. Then there's like the 1 out of 10 doctors, like Dr. Nathan, for example, that say, hey, don't do fluoride. And this is fluoride-free Dr. Jen's natural toothpaste. And man, the strawberry one, super good. Yeah, it makes it fun to brush your teeth. Like this one tastes really good. I'm usually not a fan of people who are like, oh, it doesn't taste good. Everything has to taste good. But this one has 10% nanohydroxy NHA, and it remineralizes toothpaste. And try it out. Try this one out, and give it a go. Another quick little nugget. Friend of mine, he was in my building here. We like to co-work here. We have like a co-working type space here in the building that I live in. And he was going ham on the phone, walking up and down the overlooking the skyline of Austin. I'm like, man, he's in a really passionate phone call right now. Like he's like giving the sauce to somebody right now. Like that must be an expensive client or something like that. And I asked him after like 30 minutes of him speaking into his phone like that, I was like, oh, who did you talk to? And he was like, oh no, I was just scripting a YouTube video. I was just like brain dumping. And I thought that was really good. Because when I brainstorm things and when I write, David Perel, who was on a few episodes ago, he's known as the writing guy. Like he's a writer. He talks to a ton of writers. He does that too. He goes for walks and then formulates his thoughts using whisper flow. He's the one that hooked us up with that. So whisper flow, again, is man, it's an app you got to get. So it's something you can use on your phone, but also computer. You just hold down one button and then you basically, speak into your phone and it perfectly translates it, or I should say transcribes it. And it's like, I use this 50% of the time whenever I'm typing something. I just speak into it. It transcribes it perfectly. It even gets weird names right. And using AI. And if you use that for your phone to brainstorm ideas, to script a video, or you're writing an article or something, you're formulating something while you could move, man, I would get so much more walks in and so much more sunlight and really everything. And I'm like, why don't I do that? And so there you go. Put a link in the description as well. Not sponsored yet.
We'll take your money though.
Yes, give us your money. But yeah, check out these little goodies. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to share like little nuggets like this for people. I think could be interesting.
Well, that app
right?
seems I might try that. That seems pretty useful for me because like when you do stand-up comedy, like there's the writing element of it, and then obviously there's performing it. And like when you're writing it, sometimes you can get very like joke writey, and like it might work as a good tweet or something like that, but then that's not necessarily how you would say that to other human beings in real life with your mouth. So it would be, sometimes I'll write a whole bit, and then when I go on stage, I'm kind of like, this doesn't even feel right to say out loud, so I'll just kind of riff it and improvise it, and having that would immediately just transcribe it into my my script, and then I can work from there to write it. But the walking thing too is like, I'm seated right now. I like I'm getting jittery. Like I'm like never seated. I have a walking treadmill that I'm usually walking on. If we're doing meetings or whatever it is, half the time when I'm writing, like even if you're I don't know if that AI is free or not, but if it's if it costs
2,000 words per week or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Well, if you're a cheapo like me and you're not going to pay for something, like I just have a WhatsApp chat with myself, and like obviously I won't like show it to you, but I'm just like, this is all from like the last 2 weeks.
A lot of intimate texts.
Just writing myself sweet nothings. But like anytime I get
you're enough.
I'm writing my affirmations. The Driven podcast will get 5,000 subscribers. I'm so happy and grateful.
Yeah. You just copy and paste them, and then you just like, edit my affirmations today.
That's a nugget. That's efficiency.
Oh yes. Yeah. I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, I think it's a good rule to say, okay, whenever I have a meeting, get on the meeting treadmill.
Yeah.
Like I have a treadmill ready right here, and I don't do it every meeting, but I think it's a good rule to do. Like a good thing, you know, you get so many steps in, and man, you compound that over 20 years of your lifetime, 20 years of soul crushing meetings, you'll look very different. You're going to look very different. I think you also said, last time we talked about this, you said Nietzsche
Yeah.
said, what did he say again?
I don't know if this is an exact quote, but he said in one of his books that he like never had a good thought while he was still, or any thought that he got while he was seated needed to be rejected or thrown away or something like that. And he was famous for like, he would go on like 3-hour long walks around the lake or the mountain or whatever where he lived, and that's when he wrote his best work.
Yeah, he had a writing treadmill.
He did in 1848, whenever it was.
Yeah,
Was
a
Nietzsche
mechanical one.
alive?
It was a mechanical one that you had to turn it like that, and then you had to walk as well.
Yeah.
Which is why if you look at some of his paintings, his left arm was super jacked because he was just like that. Don't quote me on it, but that's another little value nugget here.
That's impressive German engineering.
Yeah, he was German. We had a lot of good. We had a good time back then. Then we had a bad time, and now it's like neutral.
Yeah.
We were like awesome, then anyways.
Well, now Germany's producing the preeminent comedic personal development gurus. So
Yeah.
that's an innovation.
All right, we're gonna have Dr. Mike Israetel, exercise scientist, join us right now. Hello, sir.
He is in.
How's
You
it
are
going,
in.
Dr. Mike?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Great. Where are you calling from? Where are you based? What's your address?
Look outside really quick. Yeah,
Oh,
that's me, big
jeez.
homie.
Oh.
You weren't ready for that, were you? I am based in the metropolitan Detroit area, just outside of it, in the great state of Michigan.
Mike, we wanted to get a bunch of insights from you about working out. How can we spend less time in the gym and more time admiring ourselves in the mirrors? Because we're lazy. We're always looking for the hacks. But first of all, I would love for you to actually do an exercise scientist critiques video right here with us.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Crooked Man before?
No.
So it's this guy, I think he's 19 years old, and he only trains one side of his body. He only trains one trap. And then, and I'm just curious, like, what do you suggest he could do to maximize? So this is actually, his parents are trying to prevent him from doing it.
Hey, what are you doing down there? Nothing. Working on that fucking trap? No. Better stop that shit. I'm not.
So he's on day almost 200, training only one trap, and it seems to be working. So just tell us, what do you see? What do you suggest?
I need an angle from completely behind or in front of him. He's always standing turned. So like, I'd really just kind of want, is there any straight on?
Let me
Like
see here.
some honest angles here?
Well, you can see maybe the other side of his trap from here because he's also exclusively mouth breathing for 100 days.
Okay.
So maybe we can see.
This is you feel like the greatest TikTok generational move ever.
No, I couldn't see the other side there.
Show him doing the bench press.
The bench press, okay.
One-sided 225 at 1 a.m. High risk, no reward.
I guess the reward is views, huh?
Yes.
That's cool.
I think, I think we could maybe just get into it. We have a special guest joining us, and maybe you can just ask him to show us the trap so we can just tell him. So here's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Crooked Man, joining the call.
Oh, fuck, he's real.
Hello, Crooked Man.
How are you doing? Where are you calling from?
Illinois.
Ugh.
So this could go two ways, Mike. We could either have an intervention, or
Boo.
you could help him make history.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
where should
guys
we
ever
go
read
with
about
this?
that one intervention in history class? Man, me neither. But I did read a lot of history. Let's fucking do history. What's the
Sounds good.
history? What are we going to do, Mr. Crooked Man?
So what's your goal, Crooked Man? What's your vision? Why are you doing all this?
Well, right now I really want to maintain my spot as the #1 looks minimizer. I don't have much competition, but I'm getting a lot of views.
I'm starting right now.
That looks very
I'm only doing
optimal,
this one.
but don't come for my top spot. I think I have it locked down for now.
So I have so many questions. Can I have a few
Yeah.
questions?
Jump in. You can have as many questions as you want.
So, Mr. Crooked Man, sorry, Mr. The Crooked Man.
It's okay.
All formal. So, when you say your looks minimizer, is your gradation of how good you are at minimizing your looks based on a baseline of looking initially pretty good and seeing how far you can drag that down? Or is it based on like, because you're not bad looking. And so if you want to be the worst looking person in the world, like you failed radically, it's over. You might as well quit. But is it like,
No, it's
the
definitely
delta
it's
that we're
definitely
looking at?
based on the scale from where you start to where you finish, not where you finish or where you are now, I would say.
I gotcha. And are you so you're already willing to actively minimize your looks through your body? Have you considered cosmetic surgery to make yourself grotesquely ugly, or at least start with some makeup and see how that fits? You know,
Or
because
just
like
a hammer.
you can like right now in the sweatshirt, I mean, you just look like a regular person. And so if I see you on the street, I'm still feeling pretty bad about myself because I have a big gut. I'm 40, I'm balding, and I'm trying my best to look good. This is really, really ridiculous. See, as far as social capital, you're offering me nothing. And if I could see your face hideous and grotesque, I'd at least be like, damn, I'm fucking glad I'm not that guy and I don't live in Illinois. Jesus Christ. That would be really bad.
Yeah, I don't think surgery's off the table, but in the U.S., it might be hard to find a plastic surgeon willing to make you look worse.
Well, yeah, no, it's
Maybe I can take a trip to
this is
Turkey
where-
or something.
This
Plastic
is where my
surgeons do it all the
expertise-
time, though.
Yeah, usually
no,
it's
Leon.
accidental, though.
No, but here's the thing, man. You guys are thinking about this. I love it. This is excellent stuff. You're thinking about it a little bit. Let me offer a positive suggestion. The premise upon which you hire a plastic surgeon is that they're qualified to enhance your aesthetics. You're the complete opposite premise. Like if you hire a personal trainer to get you less strong, just hire some lady off the fucking street that's never lifted weights. You don't need a plastic surgeon. You need someone who can keep you medically well while cutting giant fucking scars on your face. Any medical student with a bottle of rubbing alcohol will do just fine. Like, forget about surgeon. They're busy making people look prettier. Also, like, they can't even get their biases away. Like, I was consulting, I just recently had plastic surgery, by the way. And one of the surgeons I consulted, she was really awesome. She's a true esthetician. But she was like, yeah, I think your body will look better like this. And I was like, girl, I'm going to tell you how my body's going to look. And she's like, that's going to look weird. I'm like, I want weird. And so she was so biased to making people look good. These crooked man, these aren't the people you want helping you. They're going to hurt you in the sense they're going to make you look better by accident. They're going to go, well, so you said you wanted your cheeks asymmetrical, but what we ended up doing is making them perfectly symmetrical, and you brought your jawline out. It's going to be like $60,000, the worst decision of your life. You need someone with like, just like a lot of like, I mean, if you're not into pain, just like someone qualified to administer anesthesia, someone qualified to keep the wound clean, and someone with a fucking shovel or a pickaxe, just whammo, and then you're well on your way. Also, it's way cheaper. I mean, fuck, plastic surgery is so expensive. You're not into like income minimizing, I assume.
I'll do it for $30.
We found somebody.
That was easy. We got a volunteer.
Perfect.
Yeah, just get on a Lime scooter and book it downtown. Get drunk. People do it all the time. They lose their lower jaw. It's
You could maybe experiment with local steroid injections that are water-based so that that really perfuses quickly into your muscle, and then local cortisone injections into your other muscles of your body to keep them smaller. Now we're fucking thinking. That's next level shit. So you could really be a freak. And here's another thing, like there's so many ways for you to like just branch out. Cause like, okay, your looks minimizing, and I love the vibes, right? But at the same time, it's like, what's the point? Like, it's cool for lols and for Instagram. TikTok loves it. It's great. People get irate in the comments. Fine. And that is for its own sake beautiful. But you can take the next step and just really, as you get progressively more hideous looking, you can just invest a ton of time into, I'm not going to say the words, the algorithm will no doubt by just kibosh for this one, but you can increase your abilities in the seductive arts, right? Conversation, how to talk to people, how to appeal to people. And because you have this buffer of like people are actively afraid for if they're going to get your cooties on them when you talk to them, if you do that looks minimizing for a few years while building up your game, what you're going to learn as far as how to interact with people is going to be fucking eons. Because who do people ask about how to pick up like women? Like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's like 6'3", a multimillionaire and a world champion in kickboxing. Motherfucker, you get pussy just falling into this shit by accident. Get out of my face. I don't learn anything from you. If you want to appeal to guys like me, and there are billions of us, pathetic, incel, fat-headed, short people with hair in all the wrong places. Not Jamie. You really laughing at you were laughing at me right now? Really? All right. So, I mean, we need advice, and you're the man to go into the fucking weeds. It's like hunting tigers with just your bare hands, or maybe like a nail clipper. If you kill a few tigers and come back, bro, I want to know the fucking secret. I don't need you to teach me how to hunt a tiger with a fucking, 7.62 machine gun. Anyone can do that. Just press the trigger, point at tiger. I want fucking real data. And if you really want, as soon as you get to a level of where your pickup abilities are just completely off the fucking chain, then you can flip the script and looks maximize, and then you will become God, or you will die of HIV. Either way, it's good stuff.
I just don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater with Andrew Tate, because he has a very fucked up small chin and no jawline. So I do think there's something of value to learn from him, but otherwise.
So, Crooked Man, do you have any questions before we leave you back into the wild?
I actually do have some questions for Mike. So, I'm known for my trap. But do you have any optimal trap exercises? Because right now, I do like three exercises mainly. I do heavy shrugs, some overhead work, like this guy down here. That form is looking very good. Ass. And then I do the cable over the head like this. But do you have any more optimal exercises for me that I haven't considered?
Oh my God, tons. So you can do you talk to ChatGPT ever?
A little bit.
Okay, you should start talking to ChatGPT a lot more. Ask ChatGPT to give you the top 10 best trap exercises, and the next prompt asks for top 10 most creative and unusual trap exercises. It's going to list a bunch of them out. What you're going to do is take a look at all of them, and you're going to just do one side. Because there's face pulls, there's lateral raises, it'll work your traps a ton. The other thing is the big trap is dope, and I fucking feel that energy. But if you had a big trap and one big ass side delt, that would be real freak shit. I'm talking about, what's this, Quasimodo or whatever the fuck, that one guy that with the crooked back that was getting zero pussy also. You know what I'm saying? He's well ahead of you. And so, to be honest, right now you're like a Padawan learner. You can fucking juggle the lightsaber and you can kind of talk to animals with the Force, but you're not Luke Skywalker. You need to get on that fucking next level, where Quasimodo is a person I think was a Disney stealing your identity to make a retroactive film about the 1890s or whatever the fuck that was set in. So I think big ass delt, big trap, and then you can do a ton of unilateral cable work. Remember pulling angles. So you pull up this way, you can pull at a 45. You can even pull back to yourself this way, because trap fibers run low as well as high. I mean, there's all sorts of, you can do paused reps and slow down, and then just dynamic reps. If you go close to failure, you can start doing partials at the bottom for the trap, and there's so much exercise you could do. The other thing is variation. Pick do 3 trap training days per week. Have one low rep day, have one moderate rep day, and one high rep day, and have each one have a different exercise. Run that for 1 or 2 months. Take a deload for a week, chill. Pick 3 more exercises, same template, run it again. You'll never run out of variation. A year later, you'll cycle back to the same exercises. After a year, your body remembers shit. So your one trap is going to just make people think wow, this kid really, you're winning when people start on the train or on the subway or whatever, they start giving you advice how to even out your body. They're have you ever tried training to one trap? You're yeah, that's what I've been doing. They're oh man, and still this big? You're no, I've been training the big trap. And they're confused. They walk off the train. They don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. They follow you on social media. They realize you're not. And then maybe somehow that'll convert to profit or vagina, which is what money is useful to buying.
I was gonna get into that. I think specifically the money part, unfortunately, not the other part.
Well, same.
So I think one leads to the other. So I think one of the bottlenecks for the Crooked Man is funds. If he just had a sponsor, so RP Strength makes money.
Maybe I don't ever see any of it.
Yeah. Do you think we could make something happen here? The first sponsored athlete. That's you have a new category of athlete to sponsor.
Yeah.
So we are absolutely an aesthetics company where our entire brand is looks maximizing, But like, even though Bill Gates' brand is like make nice computers, it doesn't mean he doesn't share with like children in Africa and shit with their charity. And so like, we might find it in our hearts, you know what I'm saying, to throw you a couple dollars here to keep that journey going. I mean, at the very least, we can send you some protein and be like, hey, like, do you want to be a freak? And people are like, yeah, like, no, I mean, literally, like, not metaphorically, not like the Hulk, like Bane, when just half his body fucking was hit with the serum. They're like, maybe, you're like, oh, here, take this fucking protein. It's going to be great.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me on. It was great to be here.
Thank you.
All right,
Wow.
now we got to send him $100.
Yes.
He's like, I'm busy today. I'm like,
He's
you're
awesome.
19. What the fuck?
You know, I
You got
I could just
sponsored by
imagine.
Driven and RP in one day.
I love it. Easy. You just imagine being his hockey coach and look at him in the locker room and be like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Gen Z, man. So, yeah, did we just ruin that kid's life?
No more
think
than
so.
it was already ruined. I mean, it really just depends on what his attunement to sarcasm is. If it's 0, absolutely we ruined his life. If it's normal, then it was a really fun time.
Okay, Jamie, can you message him and just let him know, just in case?
All of those were jokes.
Great.
Every single thing that was said was a joke.
Hey.
RP string sponsorship included.
Oh no!
Oh,
he's
no,
about to.
I
He's
know.
about to like run naked into his university, just being like, "I don't need you guys anymore."
It's technically a crime,
Yes.
fortunately.
Yes. Muscle memory exists. You know, you can take a couple of years to build up your muscles, and then if you end up losing it, you can get it back pretty quickly again in a few months. But it seems like the opposite is true as well. I've always had this theory, and I started looking into it. What do you know about fat memory?
Yeah, it's even more intense. So muscle memory works by a few factors, but one of the major ones is like you have your normal muscle cells, and then kind of around them you have what's called satellite cells, which are just the nuclei of the muscle cells, just the control centers, and not a whole lot else. If you train really, really hard over a long time, the nuclei enter the muscle cells and they build their own muscle structures around them, but they don't really ever leave, seemingly. So it's just kind of always there. And so if the muscle shrinks down, the amount of raw nuclear material, the amount of growth potentiating material you have is still super, super high. So you start training it again, you have this fucking mega factory. It's like getting into the garment business. When you have like one stamping plant to make t-shirts, but then you do really well and you get like 10 stamping plants, but then like you don't work for a year. It's not like the factory decays and rots. Anytime you want to start making t-shirts again, you got 10 fucking stamping plants at the ready. You're going to make a lot of t-shirts. So that's how it works in muscle. But in fat, you actually get distinct hyperplasia, not hypertrophy. You get both. Hyperplasia is when cells literally multiply through mitosis, and fat cells have no upper end that we've ever seen, cue 1,000-pound people in real life, for that multiplication. So when you grow enough fat cells, they actually shrink down as you lose the fat, but they don't delete. The only way they delete is if you have, currently with current technology, is you have cosmetic surgery to physically remove them. And so there's a few other ways that don't work that great. There's cool sculpting that kills them with very cold temperatures, but that's not such a high throughput mechanism. So it ends up being that the fat memory is really intense, and that actually does fuck people in the ass pretty well when, you know, they've weighed 300 pounds for a while, they come back down to 200 pounds, they have loose skin, first of all, because skin does the same thing with cell division, and they have a ton of fat cells. That causes them to hold a lot of water, even if they're very lean. Causes for the skin stuff, which isn't great. Loose skin is not exactly the look people signed up for. And then it also causes, so when fat cells are big relative to their size, they're full of fat. They're actually telling your body like, hey man, you're good. Like you don't need to keep eating this much. So they're signaling hormonally all the time to your brain, like we're full, which is why bodybuilders at the peak of a bulk, you like show them a grain of rice and they throw up because they're like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I don't want to ever see food again. But if you bring a ton of fat cells to the equation, then when you lose 100 pounds, you have a bunch of fat cells with their internal physiology making a ton of those hormones that say eat, eat, eat. And now when they're very small, they're screaming at you to eat all the time. So if you were never fat versus if you've been very fat before, your baseline hunger, if you've been very fat, is going to be way, way higher when you lose all that weight. It's just trying to drive you back up to refilling those fat cells. So short of advanced drugs, which luckily we do have now, they come with some downsides. The cosmetic surgery thing is the big kicker there, and it's not perfect, and it's really fucked up. I just had a bunch of it. It's really a gnarly procedure and all that stuff. So it really is a thing. I think people assume this total reversibility to the body, which we're working towards, and I think in about 10 years we'll get. But so far, it's like if you gain weight, especially a lot of weight, like if you gain up to like 20 pounds, you don't really get a lot of fat cell multiplication. You'll never pay for it. Your skin doesn't stretch much. You'll be good to go. It'll just resorb, and you're going to look totally fine. If you gain an extra 20 pounds on top of that, and 20 pounds on top of that, gain 60 pounds or something like that, then yeah, like you won't go back to kind of normal. It'll be a bit of a struggle to get back down and a bit of a struggle to stay there, and the aesthetics won't look the same. So part of my, I wouldn't say it's a regret. Regrets are like kind of like epistemically stupid, but it's unfortunate that I bulked up in my natty days to be a fat fuck, because I'm kind of dealing with it now.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. Like if there is a way to get back to what it would have been like if you had never gained like that much fat. Yeah, that was the theory of dry fasting. That I don't know if you've heard of dry fasting, but basically the idea is that you don't drink any water and you don't even get in touch with any water. I tried it once because I was like the crooked man. I wanted to get views on YouTube, and it did work. But the idea was you put your body into into a state where autophagy goes through the roof, and it ends up eating up whatever it can, including whatever structures it had built to gain fat again quickly, right? And so I don't know if there's anything to it, and I would never recommend it to anyone. But have you heard anything about that?
Dry fasting is actually dangerous because you can die from dehydration, or at least have irreparable kidney damage. So I would not recommend that to anyone. Water's kind of like, really important. Regular fasting. So the kind of cells that undergo autophagy under regular fasting are typically rapid turnover cells, like cells in your intestinal lining, skin cells, things like that. I'm not aware of any data that conclusively illustrates that fat cells go through any kind of apoptotic events, which is to say, I don't think they just lyse by themselves. I don't think they undergo autophagy. It would be fucking dope if they did, fellas. Holy shit. I just don't think they do, man. And so what you end up getting is just a really insane hunger drive to just fill the fat cells back up even more. So I think very regimented, decent eating, taking a lot of like tirzepatide, Zepbound, Manjaro, things like that. I mean, those are going to be your best friends for getting as lean as possible. And at the end of the day, when you get lean and build a lot of muscle, if you don't like some excess skin, don't like some excess fat stores, then cosmetic surgery is so far kind of the only really effective thing.
Interesting. So the idea of muscle memory and fat memory, I like the idea that, hey, once I hit a new ceiling with my muscle mass, it's going to be easier for me to get back into it, which is why before I turn 35, I want to hit a certain weight so that, it's easier for me to get back to that. That also makes me think of how does that apply to other areas in our lives where we can create a new ceiling where it's going to be easier to get back into, right? Like the same thing with fat memory, whatever you want to call it.
You can call it fat memory. It's all fine.
Yeah. Fat memory. It's called fat memory.
You're saying that's how I hit on thick girls. Like, damn, bitch, you got me my fat memory going all crazy when I see that.
I remember. Yeah. But like even with like, I think about work ethic, right? If you've worked extremely hard in your early 20s and you had a period where you just went absolute nightmare mode, I think you're creating this new ceiling where later in life, if you're like, okay, I'm starting this new business, I know what this looks like, you can go and reach that again. Like, do you notice that too in your life, like where it applies to other areas in your life?
Yeah, it definitely happens with work. Though there's a really big caveat, which I'd really like to tell people about. Cue serious discussion with actually helpful things. But maybe it's still sarcasm. You never can tell.
Oh, God.
Yeah, never will. So, you can absolutely work at a high rate for a long time, get used to it, and you get two things. One, you get a few things. One, the habits and practices that sustain that high work rate, you're going to know them now. Like, what does it really take for me to be able to work a lot? Like, I have to isolate myself in an office. I have to use the right kind of, ambient music. My workflow gets really good. Once you know how to do that, you could just like something you just do again. The other thing is it builds confidence. Like if someone says like, oh, could you really do 8 hours of deep work a day for 5 days a week? You know, having not done it, you're like, I don't fucking know. It sounds really intense, like some Elon shit. But if you've done it for a while, you're like, yes, I can dependably do that if I'm given the right circumstances. So those are all really good things. And obviously working that much, I mean, there's various brain structures and abilities you're going to develop that are going to, like, again, they're there for the asking, and you just got to train back up, and boom, there they go. So that's the upside stuff. However, if you work so much that you get into burnout, that you do way beyond overreaching, kind of overtrain your brain, that absolutely can happen. It gives you like a very low-key PTSD for working hard again. And then you actually are maybe semi-permanently, it's going to take a lot for you to work back up into those high volumes of work again, way harder than it was to get there initially, because you're having to overcome all kinds of crazy shit. It's kind of like you get like a Delta Force operator that's been down range like 1,000 times or something, like some Bob Keller type motherfucker, and like they've had a great time and they're real combat effective, and so they're like, hey, do you want to jump in the fucking helicopter and get another op going? They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do this. But if you have a guy who didn't want to go to war, he got drafted into war, he saw all his friends get blown up, he hated it, he didn't want to be there the entire time, he went to a level of fatigue and exhaustion and disillusionment with a war that can only be written about and not experienced unless you're that guy. You're like, hey, do you want to like go to another war? He's going to be like, yeah, and gun to head. You're like, oh shit, he really didn't want to go. So you don't want to get to that part. It's just a matter of how much you work for how long. You guys know the old CIA thing. Everyone breaks, right? Everyone breaks. It's just a matter of when. Don't break yourself. I've gone very, very close to breaking myself. There's a period in my life about a year ago where, a year and a half, where our company, like, relatively speaking, wasn't doing as well. And I was like, okay, time to step up. Time to flex the Ashkenazi muscle and fucking do some shit. And I worked my ass to the fucking bone. And it took me, I'm still working on feeling relatively normal again. Now it's much better. But it was the ghosts of that were with me for a long time. I got real close to burnout. I've had friends burn out and they just don't work as much anymore. Luckily, they're loaded as fuck and they don't need to. But like, it's something you got to approach really gingerly. It's just like with training. If you want to be super, super jacked, eventually you get really big, right? But if you overtrain like crazy, you just get hurt. And someone's like, why don't you have the biggest arms that you did back in the day? You're like, because I tore both my biceps off the bone fucking curling too goddamn much. Like, oh, shit. It is never going to be the same again, huh? Short of like miracle surgery in the next 10 years. So it's one of those things where if you work a ton, yeah, it does behoove you to slowly work up to that, very much detect when you're overreached and burnt out, back off for days and weeks at a time, come back into the fray and kind of slowly flirt with that line. And erring on the side of easier than harder when you're in that red zone is a really, really good idea.
Interesting. What did that look like for you? Like when you went all in to just like, okay, let me work myself to the bone. Like how many hours did you work? What did that look like? And what were the signs that you think we should look out for?
Yeah, so I recorded an entire curriculum for an online university in a period of 3 months of video filming on top of normal YouTube video filming. So I filmed like 215 sequenced lecture videos about exercise in nutritional and recovery science. And we were filming so much that towards the end, I would get done with like the 8th hour-long video recording of the day. And after I stopped, like I said the last word, and I'll see you next time, I got full body chills and semi-fever. As soon as I finished that last word, I was like, ugh. And I would just like, watch an hour of television, do my cardio, eat a meal, go to sleep, wake up the next morning dreading the entire existence of life, assuming that's just how successful people live their lives, and repeating it for 1.5 years straight. So no vacations, none of that. It was a poor use of my time. I would not have repeated the process. I learned a ton of cool shit. And so on the philosophical front, it's definitely cool to have gone like and burned your wings in the sun, Icarus style, but not exactly like, killed yourself on the fly back to earth, kind of flapped them a little bit and landed on a mountain. It's cool to know that because it does recolor your knowledge of yourself. It does recolor your perception of, are you working hard enough? It's like people who have never trained very hard with high volumes close to failure will be like, yeah, man, I think I'm fucking undertraining, bro. I got to get like fucking tougher. If you really push the pace, no amount of external, like, yeah, but have you ever tried going more is going to phase you anymore. But yes, I have. I've already been there. I know what it's like. And so it was cool in that regard, getting the positives out of it. And I I don't think I have like permanent scarring from it, because now I'm like way back into the fray and I'm doing lots of work again and I love it and it's great. But yeah, it took months for me to be like, to even realize I was doing something very wrong. Because, you know, there's that whole, Chris Williamson and I were talking about this. You guys like that name drop? Yeah, it's just my friend, one of the biggest podcasters in the world. No big deal. It's just my buddy. You just text him whenever. Him and I were talking about, actually on a few podcasts already, that there's this massive culture behind getting people to try harder and go to the limit. And there's almost no culture with getting psychotic people like me and probably you guys to like back off every now and again and chill. But like, what's more important for training hard or recovering? There's actually an unanswerable question. The answer is both, in balance. And one without the other is fucking stupid. And so you get a lot of insight about how to go hard, you know, hashtag the grind, all that shit. But not a lot about how to chill. And I think the running assumption there is that most people just auto chill when they get too fucked up, but that's not exactly true for everyone, you know? And sometimes you can get so caught up in that mentality that, you know, so for example, for me, like feeling pain in the gym and then soreness after, I've long ago learned to interpret those as good things, right? Like, and so for me, feeling the psychological pain of exceptional overwhelm from work, I recaricatured into a good thing. So I was like, all right, I can barely see. And there's like a glory in that, you know, like, you know, you go out to eat at the end of the day or something and you can barely fucking see your fork and you know, you've given it your all and you're building success. It's a glorious feeling, but you got to like temper that every now and again with some chill time so that you can long-term be your best. And everything that you can accomplish that anyone will ever give a fuck about is long-term. Like burning yourself out is fucking stupid. I actually talk to ChatGPT all the time and I talk to ChatGPT about this and he was like, real talk, man. Come on, bro. Like burning out is fucking dumb. And I was like, and he actually did the math. Like, here's how many life years you have. Here's how many productive life years you have burning out. Here's how many productive life years you have not burning out. And I was like, touche, sir. It is the same advice I would give someone else, but a lot of advice you give other people, you don't take yourself because you're like, yeah, but.
Yeah, you're right. There isn't much of a culture of people, you know, okay, need to slow down. And oftentimes the people who just need to lock in and work harder, they go to the advice of, I need to love myself first. It's like, no. Sure. No, right. You need to get to
But the opposite's also true.
Exactly.
And we don't recognize that.
And then, you know, we're listening to the David Goggins and it's like, no, it's like the solution to get to the next level is not more discipline, not more work, but it's we recently talked about this. There's an old blog that talks about, there's this guy who forced himself to take a sabbatical every 7 weeks. So he would work for 6 weeks and then take a week off. And I'm like, smart. That sounds like a nightmare. Like
really?
It sounds great. And that sounds great for somebody else to do. But for me to actually having the discipline, and he talks about that too. He was like, you must schedule the sabbatical before anything else. And it's the number one thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that at some point. Yeah. But actually doing it is so difficult.
I have a reframing that can help. So I think a lot of the framing around the sabbaticals and the taking off time comes from that, like, no offense, politics shit. I can go both ways on that, but like politically left wing, woo woo, like you just have to love yourself and capitalism just wants to exploit you and just like blade you dry. But loving yourself is the part of how Gaia, I'm saying Mother Earth got big titties and shit, big naturals, my girl. And that was all like, it's great. It's a great vibe those people have. They're actually having a way better time in life than most of us. But, like a lot of like success-oriented people, young men, they're not really into that vibe. That vibe's fucking awful. And so a lot of our like recalcitrance into even trying like a week of sabbatical every 7 weeks is about like, you know, that's fucking lame. Like I'm a fucking future CEO, Andrew Tate. Like I'm going to be running my own whorehouse here in a bit, you know, as far as my trajectory's going, just like my hero, Mr. Tate. And I'm not about that. Like I'm a hashtag grinding, right? And that's dope. The vibes are all dope. In either case, it's dope vibes. Working hard is dope vibes. Chilling is dope vibes. I'm going to just say, like, take a step back from vibes and see yourself how you want to see yourself. A fucking machine. A calculating, cold, like, driven machine. Now, so do machines skip steps in the process that refurbishes them and cleans out their sockets and gives them new arms? No, that's insane. Like, can you imagine like a Terminator coming back from battle and one of his arms is missing? And the Mega Mind Machine Factory Terminator is like, you need a new arm. He's like, no, man, I'm fucking tough. He'd be like, what the fuck? That's awfully human of you to say. He'd be like, yes, please give me a new arm. So recuperation is something machines do. and they do it very well, full send. Like the Terminator machines won't just halfway install your arm. They'll do it all the way through. And so if you look at it machine mentality, then that 1 week of like totally just chilling the fuck out, getting massages, hookers, some food and sleep there, I guess. If the hookers can provide it for you while giving you a massage, then you're actually doing the thing that long-term is the hashtag grind mentality. Hashtag grinding for 6 weeks is dope, but like, you're not building anything impressive in 6 weeks. You will in months and months and years. And the only way you're going to survive that process is to actually do the recovery. And I mean, full send recovery. So it's just exactly your job through those 6 weeks to fucking bleed for the shit. Absolutely. You don't want to work? Shut up and work. It is also in exactly the same way, exactly your job to recover completely. Flip the switch, de-stress, really woosah, no phone, no emails, no Slack, none of that shit. You tell everyone at your company you're fucking dead for the next week. And if they value you as a very selfish, money-generating piece of capital machinery, which is how I see myself, they're going to be like, do not fucking do it. Like, imagine, NVIDIA, one of the factories, is getting retooled to make their next line of microchips. And someone's like, we need to get it started now. They're like, what, are you out of your fucking mind? They're mid-retooling. Like, we're going to build nothing if you go in there now and try to halfway build something when half the machines aren't even fucking fabbed together, you idiot. They wouldn't even entertain that conversation. So why the hell are you entertaining answering emails at midnight on your vacation? You're doing something actively wrong. A machine would tell you to do it differently.
Yeah, I think of a Formula One car, right?
Yeah.
They race around the track like crazy, and then they go into the box and they go bzz, 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 bzz.
Yeah.
They get the massages and the hookers and stuff.
And exactly, that's nice. A little quick HJ in the fucking car. The thing is that like in all the movies about racing, they're like, you got to pit. He's like, no, I'm taking this one. I'm going to fucking win. Like real F1 drivers laugh at shit like that. Like, can you imagine watching a movie about training where like it's like about a bodybuilder and they're like, hey man, got another month left, time to deload and it'll re-prep for the show. He's like, no deloads, man. We're burning it all the way through the show. Everyone bodybuilder would be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. This is the guy that like placed like Dr. Mike did at his last bodybuilding show, like did, not even mentioned. Like, this is an idiot. By the way, my worst placings ever in shows were in periods of time where I was like hashtag grind and I skipped deloads and all that stuff. It was great. I looked like shit. Predictable.
Interesting. One thing that ties into that is this idea that I think a lot of people do too much work if they just want to maintain and not enough work if they want to grow, right? And so I'm currently in maintenance mode when it comes to my body because I'm like, okay, I'm focused on the business. I'm not going to eat 4,000 calories a day. I just can't do that. And also grow my business. I mean, I could, but it'd be dumb.
Be the worst of both worlds, yeah.
Yeah, and so I go maybe twice a week and I do like some exercise and it's very easy for me to maintain. But it really only takes this much to maintain, right? And then to grow, it takes this much. Mm-hmm. And what I notice a lot of my friends do is they train right here. Mm-hmm. Too much to just maintain, not enough to actually grow. And that I also think plays out in other areas of life. For example, business, right? Like they're like, okay, I'm gonna increase the amount of leads that I generate, and I'm gonna do a bit more here and there. But I think it just takes way more to just grow the business. Like, how do you see that play out in different areas of your life?
Well, those are big facts, man. So maintenance volume is preposterously low. Every time we study it, we realize it's lower than we thought. I mean, 4 to 6 hard sets per muscle group per week can indefinitely maintain most of your muscularity, especially if you accept that after the first month, you're going to like look a little smaller just because your muscles aren't acutely swollen from having so much trauma from proper hypertrophy training with high volumes. And then you realize like, oh, I'm maintaining my strength after 6 months of this. And then clearly that, based on the laws of physiology and anatomy, can't mean I'm losing too much muscle. And in fact, we know that that's the case. So 4 to 6 sets means like, you do 3 sets of lunges on Monday, 3 sets of squats on Thursday. And like, that's it for quads and glutes for it ad infinitum. No problem. And that's a big deal. Now, the growth situation really depends on your state of training. If you're a beginner, you can grow crazy muscle on just those maintenance volumes for the rest of us. As you get to be an intermediate, they are higher. And then as you get to be more advanced, they're higher still. So it's important to start every cycle on the low end of what grows you and slowly work through several weeks or several months of training, increasing volume and seeing like, oh, Am I still roughly as strong as I was, but now training with more volume? Yes. Then cool. Stay at this volume or even go up a little bit. That is a good idea. And where that ends is very individual, but it could be like, yeah, my biceps, I can train for 20 sets a week. And north of that, they just actually get weaker and smaller. But it turns out my like shoulders, I can train for 30 sets and they keep getting bigger. And I'm going to try 35 sets or working up to it next time. So that individualized adjustment is important. But yeah, the fundamental idea is at least the very top end of what you can grow from is way, way higher than the bottom end of what you can maintain from. Seeing that difference is huge. And Leon, I think you're doing exactly the right thing by taking a very minimalist approach to your training right now while you're doing the hashtag business stuff. And then, you know, when you have a phase in your life that's maybe even just 6 months long, you can kind of have maintenance on your business or slow growth on your business, especially if you can delegate some things out. And then you have 6 months of really intense dieting and training, a few months of massing, a few months of cutting, and then you can, you know, have a nice hashtag of hashtag CEO mentality and you're fucking ripped and swole and juicy and rich and everyone wants to be you or be around you, and then somehow that monetizes further. So that's all really good stuff. In my life, it's painful for me not to be able to pursue the things that I want full out, like psychologically painful. And so this has been a hard lesson for me. But currently, well, I've just finished recovering from surgery, so I'm 13 weeks out of surgery. No jiu-jitsu for this time, but I'm about to start doing jiu-jitsu again, but it's only going to be 2 or 3 sessions a week and relatively light. Now, like soul-wise, I love fucking hard rolls, man. There's nothing like it. Getting the shit beat out of you or beating the shit out of someone or just having a total war where no one really wins but everyone gets really tired. There's like a purifying element to your psychology that just nothing I've ever found can replace. I'm in the best mood of my life after hard rolling. Like you can come after hard rolling and punch me right in the face and I'll be like, yay. It's amazing, right? But I can't do it because right now I'm pushing my physique into my next level of ability. So yeah, maintenance for jiu-jitsu for me is a big deal. There's all sorts of other intellectual projects I have a fascination with that are on maintenance mode. And then I'm really pushing some things forward. And it's a constant battle for me to remind myself to do that because I'll be pushing really hard and I'll want to add something, but I can push that too. And I've developed sort of a knack for like, you know, kind of low key, like accomplishing kind of a lot of different shit, you know, like a professor, millionaire, YouTuber, black belt, bodybuilder, etc. Say what?
Humble.
I mean, I've been in the discussion for the most humble person of all time, but I honestly think like it's not really a discussion because I'm fucking clearly that guy. So, you know, but like, here's the thing. Yeah, humility has its place 1,000%. And don't worry, in my own head, I'm my worst fucking critic. But it's also objectively true that I've accomplished a lot of pretty cool shit. Like, not cool in any grand sense. Who gives a fuck? Like, Sam Altman's building actual super intelligence, and I'm fucking jacking off with, like, oh, I have a black belt. Like, who gives a flying fuck? But to me, this shit is important, so I kind of want to do all of it all the fucking time. And I got to really back up and be like, all right, Israetel, you know, have so many hours in the day, and recovery is a thing. And you guys, recovery feels fucking lame. You sit down at the TV after, like, especially if you're in the zone, you get into the deep work zone and you're just fucking grooving, you're making shit, like revelatory insights and amazing videos, crazy content. You just booked your next week guest. You're like, I can't believe we fucking booked that guy. And you sit down in front of the TV and you're like, it's supposed to turn off now? It's fucking weird, but it's also super fucking necessary. It's like 15-year-olds that get into the gym for the first time and they're like, I'm going to be here for 3 hours. Like, don't do that, dummy. Leave after an hour and a half and come back tomorrow. It's just something you have to remind yourself all the time about.
Man, I have to come clear to the audience, Jamie. So a few episodes ago, remember how I said, I'm going to commit to taking a long weekend off?
Yeah, did you
and
do
how
it?
I'm going to Boston this weekend. And you know how we have another podcast episode scheduled for then? Yeah, I hope my girlfriend doesn't hear this, but my relationship is in maintenance mode right now.
How dare you,
But
sir.
well, here's the thing. It takes a lot of work to like, okay, let me find a great partner. You go dating. Like dating is like, that's like takes up 60% of your time, it feels like. And it takes up
full on date. Goddamn, what kind of dating are you doing, motherfucker? 60% of your time, how many dates a week are you going on, bro? I thought Friday, Saturday was good enough.
Not anymore. A
lot of swiping, I saw, huh?
Yeah.
You got your thumb and fucking piece of ice on your thumb. You're like, I can't fucking Tinder. It's
Yes.
ruining my life.
But I think even with a relationship, for example, right? Maintenance means, okay, I'm in a relationship with this person that I love. there's not that much that I need to do on a daily basis to make them feel special, to make them feel seen. And every once in a while, take them on a trip or do something out of the ordinary. But I think even that, like, people don't do the minimum to just maintain it. And it's a lot less work than finding the person and getting the relationship in the first place, right? And so I think it even applies there. But yeah, it is like these phases of like, okay, I'm going to grow this thing and I'm going to maintain the other and just make sure they don't drop, right? And so,
Yes.
yeah, I think it's a good way to think about it.
You need to, the ultimate unlock is getting you a wife like I have, because my wife's also a psychotic workaholic. And so we're just in maintenance mode for our relationship until the foreseeable future. We just like sort of nod at each other and go to each other's respective. She's right now a weight above me in the house in her own office, and she works all the time. And so it's really cool. You have nothing at the end of the day because you're both so fucking tired and delirious. But the money's good. And that's it.
What does a
I don't know
typical
where I was
work
going with
day
that.
look like for you?
Wake up, shoot steroids, walk over to the kitchen, put 2 Genius shots and a bit of Gatorade into a shaker bottle, walk to gym, train, walk back, shower, eat my first meal right here in my office from which I am currently podcasting, while doing preparatory work, like reading myself in for the work of the day, shit like that. And then as soon as I'm not putting food into my face and I have my hands free for Mr. Keyboard over here, then I begin to work. And depending what I have for that day, I work a few hours, eat another meal, work a few hours, eat another meal. And then at about, so I wake up somewhere around like 8 to 9, usually more like 8. And by 11 or 12, I'm down here working. And then by, anywhere between 5, unusual, to 7, most often, p.m., I will extricate myself from the office, walk over to my wife, who's still working, and be like, baby, we good? And she's like, yeah, 20 more minutes. And then we sit down watching some of our favorite shows on our TV, pet the dog, go for a walk, come back, watch a few more shows. My wife will go take a shower. I will throw on my VR headset. I'll masturbate. And then I'll take a shower after, sometimes with my wife. Yes, masturbation must occur. And then we just drift off to sleep, watching some relaxing television, and then both at some point after an hour or two work our way to the bedroom where we sleep and repeat. And that's what generally Monday through Thursday look like most of the time. 2 days of the week, Scott the Video Guy comes over. We have an in-house, few studios actually in here. And then so it's almost the same schedule, except replace work with go to studio and record videos, or go to gym and do in-gym videos. And then it's functionally the same. And the weekends look a little bit different, but the weekends are like, on average, truthfully, half that work or a third of that work. And then the rest of the time is spent like, I don't know, we go to like downtown where we live, or go to a park, walk around, go to the mall, walk around, go to the city, walk around, watch a movie or something. Like preposterously boring lives. But that's how we like them, I guess. I don't know.
I think it sounds fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. Oh, totally voluntary. No one's forcing us to do this. And so this is kind of how it works. Yeah, that's more or less my life.
You put out a video almost every day, pretty much, right? Between the RP channel, the Mike
Progress
Israetel
channel.
Making Progress channel.
Yeah.
And you only record twice a week, so you just batch those and you just do everything in 1 or 2 days and then schedule it out?
Correct. Now that doesn't count like times when we go to places for collabs. But for the most part, yeah, it's batch. So we sit down, get into the flow. We record, usually on Wednesdays, we'll record like 5 videos. And on Thursdays, we'll record 3 to 4. And then Scott will drive back home. He actually spends the night here once a week. And yeah, that gets us about, typical clip is like 8-ish videos. We have a member section in our channel, and we release it on video every now and again. So we release probably about 6 videos a week on average, record something like 8 or 9, and then that means that we get a good backlog going, which we love. We would be useless without a backlog. And once we do that, anytime we have to take a vacation or something like that, or we have to travel for work and we can't be on our usual grind, then it's no big deal because we are weeks and weeks and weeks away from ever being short of videos. So, yeah.
Wow. We need that. Great.
Yeah, it's cool. Try it. It's awesome. Because then you don't have any anxiety about I got to get something posted next week. Like right now, if I go to our YouTube backend, on the RP channel, we're probably 6 weeks of fully stacked, edited, thumbnailed, titled to some extent, some combo of those videos. So
Wow. That's amazing. A lot of
Yeah.
peace of mind. Another thing.
maybe
Yeah. Yeah. A bit more, I guess.
more if we had to do the one-stop shop thing where it's every week is struggle for survival, I wouldn't last in this industry. So
Yeah, you're right. It's tough. You have a PhD in sports physiology.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know this, but I have a PDF in psychology
What's a
as
PDF?
well. And I wonder, it's in the description.
Okay.
It's just that's my credential.
Like a PDF file.
Yeah, let's just skip over this. We'll
Cool.
just cut this out later.
Beautiful.
How much of an effect can our mind or beliefs have on muscle growth or weight loss? Just by thinking, I gain muscle easily, I lose fat easily. Like, I know Arnold, for example, he talked about the mind-muscle connection that has a bit of real thing to it where you activate your muscle more if you focus on it.
Yeah.
But just purely if we're law of attraction, let's just go super woo-woo and weird.
Yeah.
Is there something to it?
No.
Okay.
No, fuck no. The law of attraction is just pure unmitigated nonsense. No offense to anyone who believes in that sort of thing. It violates multiple ideas, very well confirmed ideas, all the way through the standard model of physics about how the world works. So it's law of attraction's nonsense, first-rate delusion. But the idea that you directly can gain more muscle, lose more fat by believing that you are is just hocus pocus, wildly unlikely to be true. No empirical evidence for it, plenty of empirical evidence against it, no mechanistic grounds for it, tons of mechanistic inference that would say it's probably impossible. So, about as likely to occur as Santa Claus being real, sort of that realm of possibility. But the indirect psychological unlock that a belief in yourself has is massive because it allows you two things at least. One, to fully entrench yourself into the kind of work that's going to result in the best outcome. And two, to be relatively free of self-doubt and worry, which needlessly raise your cortisol and prevent recovery and all this stuff. So really believing in yourself is a fucking big deal, but in no direct way to muscle growth, but indirectly tons to muscle growth. Championship mentality of thinking you're going to be successful is highly, highly recommended.
My favorite bro science theory, the person who is credited with the theory, I don't think they actually said it. So our president has a fitness theory, and a bunch of people
Not
say
my
he
president.
said it. I tried to look for
that.
it. I tried to find it, and everything just went back to one news article that didn't have a source. So I don't know if he really believes this or not. But allegedly, Mr. Trump believes that he doesn't
President Trump.
He doesn't like exercising because you only get a certain amount of movements in your life.
Yeah, life force.
I have a theory that I worked on, a workout plan, and you can tell me if I'm genius or if I should go to
Unlikely.
jail.
Probably.
I'm going to call it the Hendrix Bodyhacking theory, just named after me, just in case, just already putting it out there in case it becomes big, because I think there's
You don't
potential
want to
here.
monetize. Also, real quick, hey, before you go, I can't get this off my head. How many also Caucasian men do you think are named Leon Hendrix versus how many African Americans are named Leon Hendrix? It's got to be 10-1 African Americans. I thought you were going to be black when I signed up for the podcast, and I was fucking sorely disappointed.
We're all in a group chat, and I stand out like the crooked man.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I'll say that. But I'm really lucky that I don't have a funny, hard to pronounce German name, Schmugel, Schmagel, Bergenbargen.
Dude, holy
So,
fuck, what a death knell.
So I don't know if I want to publicly announce this yet, because it's I've had this in the chamber for a while, so we may want to cut this out. But I have a middle name, Can you guess what it is?
Adolf.
Took
Sorry.
my joke.
Hitler.
Goebbels?
Eichmann? Yeah.
No, my last name is Hendrix with an X.
Yeah, no, I feel that. There are other even better shapes, usually
Middle
swastika
name.
like.
My middle name is Jimmy.
Leon
That's
Jones.
no,
Oh my
I've kept this in the chamber for so long. You're disappointed, Mike?
No, listen, Jimi Hendrix was like one of the greatest guitarists of all time, right? But also he was black. And I was gonna here's my enumerating a list of great white musicians. Ready? And that's the list. So Jimi Hendrix is the fucking man, but also like Jimmy as a name by itself. There are better names. Jimmy's like the guy that like shoots up the grocery store that he works at for years. And people say shit like, I never knew Jimmy was a bad guy. Jimmy, that's that name. But
Stop
Jimi
talking
Hendrix,
about Mr. Beast like that.
yeah, that is really his name, isn't it?
It is.
Jimmy.
The Hendrix body hacking theory. Let's say I've hit a plateau with my chest. And I'm in work mode right now, but I want to grow my body overall. And I can only hit the gym 3 times a week. But I want to just bulk up everything if I can. What if I just say, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to hit chest, and that's just all I focus on. And then I built I break through my plateau, I build huge muscle boobs. And then the next 3 months, I'm going to, okay, let's do the crooked man, but on both sides of my traps. Let me just work my traps, my neck. And then I hit a new plateau with that. I do that with every muscle group. I do it with my legs. I do it with my arms, whatever, with my back. And then after 12 months or so, I have broken through plateaus in every muscle group. And then, here's the genius part. Then I do full body workouts. I train everything in a balanced way. And I have muscle memory. It brings me up everywhere. And boom, there we go. I've hacked it. Is that genius, or are you going to hang up?
I don't know what button to press to hang up. Otherwise I would. It's genius in the same way that if you think like, oh, we're going to take a piece of paper, but then we're going to put ink on it, but the ink comes from the screen on the computer. You just reinvented the printer, and it's both outdated, but technically a technology that is effective. So you just reinvented specialization, which I think is fucking brilliant, but also you're not in the first 10,000 people to have invented or reinvented that. So independent, you're like, it's like you came up with calculus by yourself, but you did it in 1998 instead of in 1688 when it was first fucking invented or whatever. So you're way behind, but in your own very special way, Leon, fucking brilliant. Like you're as unstoppable as like a school bus full of children, like very stoppable, but nonetheless heavy because the children, American obesity epidemic, they eat a lot.
Bus.
Very short bus. It's not going to a traditional school, if you catch my drift.
Leon might not be one of the first
Gifted- the
10,000 people
gifted
to
ones.
think of this, but he might be one of the first 10,000 people to put it in a PDF in the description. For
Yeah,
$10.
link in bio. $10 is a good amount because you can't get too excited about it. It's not a ton of money, but it might even recoup its value for you, so you won't be pissed afterwards.
And it's not worth it asking for a refund.
Right, exactly. You just one of those things where you say like, "Oh, we'll refund you if you need it," but people aren't going to go through the whole Google form of getting a refund because you make that form like 300 pages long and no autofill, and so they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, you lost your progress. Start again.
Yes, the form auto caches every like 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I was trying to review a product that was sent to me. Ended up reviewing it on Instagram anyway, but I was trying to like reply to their email because they sent me like, "Oh, we sent you a product. Can you review it?" And I was going to review it and sign Dr. Mike and everything. It goes on the website, and I would like almost finish. I did this 3 times. I almost finished this very nice thing, and then it would just recache the whole form, and it was gone. And I was like, okay, we're done here. And I
you
really
needed
did
a
try.
new keyboard after that because you just smashed it. I would have lost it.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I hate, it's things like that. Okay, well, thank you.
It's a good idea, dude. But honestly, super honestly, all jokes aside, that would be effective. It would be totally effective.
Great. We'll cut out the other stuff where you said it was already invented.
You like set this whole question up over 20 minutes, and then my answer on the recording is like, that would be effective. You're like, wow, Mike's kind of dull. Like, it's really like, I
that's
thought this guy was
genius.
supposed to be able to yap. He got on here and just said 3 things. Like, we can't use the other things.
We have a segment called Guru of the Week, where we feature fascinating people that have wild ideas that, again, either genius or they're going to take the short bus to school. So this we had him on. We featured him before. It's Certified Health Nut, and he has a theory about an ancient practice that can be really good. I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Urine has got hundreds of millions of stem cells.
I'm leaning towards not ever getting them just because I believe at least there's a spiritual component to these stem cells.
Especially if you're getting them from children's foreskin.
That's what I'm saying. You're putting these stem cells from God knows where in your body. They're from someone else, and people don't talk about that.
Did Dr. Edward Group talk about the urine therapy? He owns urinetherapy.com.
Yeah, he talked about it at Jonathan Otto on the show. I haven't done it yet, but I've been tempted.
Dude, free stem cells. It's worth it. You don't have to talk about it. I know all the podcasters, they like to talk about it because it makes good clickbait. But the fact of the matter is you get a 64-ounce mason jar and just start peeing in it first thing in the morning, age it a little bit, get it on the sun. I swear to God, when I put it on my body, aches and pains go away on my body. When I put it on my face, my mood lifts.
That instantaneous?
Oh, man, it's money.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
All right. If sarcastic, and it seems like yes, 12 out of 10.
So here's the thing. I think he joked about the whole thing of like, okay, yeah, the from like foreskin from other people. That was a joke, but he genuinely drinks his own urine. What's your like urine? Would you try it or?
Urine is one of those things that your inherent evolutionary biology tells you not to drink. It's probably right about that. If we just look at it from like a first principles, very rough analysis, saying, okay, typically urine is the stuff we don't want being excreted. Why would we want that back into our bodies? Like if you are bleeding out, it's a good idea to get the blood back in you because your blood's supposed to be in your body because it does good things. Like it's probably not true that you have too much blood, but urine is like notably something you are trying to get rid of. And there are some pretty decent waste products in urine. Arguably, that's one of the only functions of urine, is to get rid of the stuff you don't want. And so putting it back into your body, the good news is that your stomach is one hell of a filtering system as far as killing everything that could hurt you with its high acidic environment. And so it's probably just not bad for you to drink your urine in the sense that you probably won't get sick. But the amount of benefits you'll get from it number between the none to the cursorily increasing your intake of some of the vitamins you peed out by some tiny fraction of a percent. And if you're not deficient in those vitamins, it just doesn't matter to begin with. Or you just take a multivitamin tab. And the real big advantage of taking a multivitamin tab is that you don't have to drink your own urine, which is disgusting.
Yes. Well, he mentioned a website, urinetherapy.com. And so, I was like, that's it. My theory behind this, by the way, is somebody wanted to start a business. He only had a few bucks to get a domain, and he just misspelled a little bit. And he was like, now I'm stuck with urine therapy.
Yeah.
But he meant something else. He meant, hey, welcome, urine therapy.
So pause right there. Stop scrolling. Scroll back up a little bit. Okay, hold on. This guy looks like a cult leader. Look at his eyes. 100%. He's a fucking cult leader. If she was peeing on me, I would have zero objections. But hold on, let us scroll. If them bitches on the right was peeing on me, especially the fucking dark-skinned one, 100,000%, I would pay good money for that fucking shit. That the idea of a woman peeing on me, I mean, there are very few things that are hotter than that. And if you disagree with that, cool, you're not into women. No worries. It's 2025. But on the other hand, if you consume your own urine by yourself, the upsides of having an attractive woman degrade you, which raises your boner levels, is completely missing. It's the equivalent of like a hot ass masseuse rubs massage oil all over you and then your dick, and then she gets you off, versus if you just buy massage oil and drink it. Like their only reason to do any of those things is completely missing now.
Well, check this out here. Another interesting fact. You've drank your own urine since birth. Although this information is not often considered or spoken about, the amniotic sac that a baby lives in for 9 months is made up of almost entirely urine. The fetus drinks the mother's urine up until developing kidneys, at which point the amniotic sac will be filled with the baby's urine. From then on, the baby will consume its own urine until the day it is born.
I like his the picture of that guy in the jean jacket. The amount of confidence and serenity that he has in that picture tells me that something you can only get through consuming your own fucking urine. Like if I saw that guy randomly in public, I'd be like, honey, stop. That is a fucking great man right there. She'd be like, why? Like, you can tell. You can't get this kind of gusto without drinking just gallons of literal excretory material and waste.
Well, they didn't put this guy on the website. This guy here, so there's a free webinar, urotherapy.
Oh, it's free?
With,
yeah,
it's not even $10. With David Avocado Wolf. I looked that up. I was
classic.
like, no.
He's classic.
No,
Yeah,
that's
man.
not. He's not. Wait. Okay. Who's this handsome fella? Okay.
David Avocado Wolf is an OG of like Instagram bullshit health claims that are pure nonsense. He's
That's
like
so funny
been
because
around
I
for
went
decades.
on his Wikipedia, and it's literally that's the first thing that says in his bio. David Avocado Wolf is an American author and conspiracy theorist. He promotes a variety of pseudoscientific ideas such as raw foodism, alternative medicine, and anti-vaccine sentiment. He has been described as one of Facebook's most ubiquitous public figures, as well as an internationally renowned conspiracy theorist and a huckster.
Yeah.
Man, it would suck to have that as your...
Or, check this out. Yes, it sucks to be described as a totally crazy person by a literal authoritative source like Wikipedia. On the other hand, if your outcome is to impress various incels about how cool you are, you just do like, maxing out your on paper accomplishments like I did. And then you get a whole lot of people DMing you and saying you're cool and, borderline inspirational on your good days. If you're maximizing for how much dank, nasty, filthy, amazing hippie girl pussy you want thrown down your gullet, there's no faster way to the source than to become the fucking hippie girl health guru guy. Because if you introduce yourself at like a hippie bar as David Avocado Wolf, one of them bitches of 5 girls that you just met, 100% was wet already. She's like, oh my God, like avocados, they're like nature's like healing force for like everything. And you're like, well, I'm glad you fucking brought that up because turns out I know a lot about that. She's like, oh my God, can you like heal me with your like cock? You're in. You're in, bro. And so on the one hand, being all authoritative and evidence-based is dope, but do you guys see any women of reproductive age around me right now? I'm in a fucking basement office in metropolitan Detroit. It could be the driest place on earth. David Avocado Wolf probably isn't on this call right now because he's in a literal orgy with, what I'm saying, them girls that have like dreadlocks and shit like that, but they're white.
Well,
Bitches
actually,
like that.
our next call-in guest, surprise guest, is we have him in the waiting room. So
No, you don't. Don't fuck with me. I know you're not important enough. You guys' podcast is big and shit, but it's not that big. You're never going to fucking get David Avocado Wolf. Why? Because he's busy with hippies. Come on, John.
That
This
would
is
be so
pathetic.
funny, though. That would be so funny.
It would be amazing.
No, we wouldn't do that to you. That would be
He like pushes a female leg off of him, like brushes his hair back. He's like, "Oh, what's this podcast about?" You're like, "Dude, you just did the thing we wanted you to do. You're already winning. Feel free to say nothing at all. Just pan the camera around." There's like 9 girls, kind of half asleep, half like, like when you really like take it to someone for a few hours and that bitch just passes out. Like everyone's like that. There's like avocado shards everywhere. Like that's how I expect his living room to look.
Yeah, yes.
you turn on a black light in the walls, but it's all just green stains instead.
Yeah,
from the avocado.
yellow stains like from the fucking urine that he's been drinking and spraying on bitches. My man.
We, on every episode with a guest, we always ask ourselves, is there a business opportunity here? Is there something that we can pitch this person so that we make $1 trillion together and we have something for you? We have a Google slide presentation prepared. Want to walk you through it. You said, I think you said, like, why would you do it? But I think we'll just cut those things out where you said drinking urine doesn't have any benefits. Because it does. It does. I think you said it somewhere. We'll just show that.
Yeah.
We'll just show that.
So, by the way, go back really quick. You spelled trillion wrong. If I was a real investor, you'd be out. The deck's out.
Well, the deck's
Go on.
improving because last time we spelled idea IDAE. So we're iterating, all right?
It's speed.
No, it's great.
We are moving
It's a trajectory,
fast.
right?
We're moving
Yeah.
fast. All right.
Sam Altman said it's not the y-intercept of someone's abilities, it's the slope that you're looking after. So I'm with you guys. You guys are fucking brilliant.
As someone who doesn't know
Great.
what either of those words mean, I agree.
Good. Yeah.
All
You
right,
don't
let's
need
get
to
into
know
it.
math.
So
you need to drink urine.
the benefits are clear. Damn it, headline.
Darn it.
People need to be drinking their own urine to live longer and better. I think is what you said earlier. That's what I heard. So
Yeah.
we have this product prepared here.
Okay,
urine-like hydration.
Pause. How come that's not me holding it? I am a very shallow person. I need to see me doing things, and you're not selling the product
It
well
gets
enough.
better.
Okay,
gets better.
okay.
It gets
But
better.
right now, I'm not liking it. I'm just telling you guys are working out
Okay.
from the fucking deficit.
Urine-like hydration.
It's brilliant.
Your lucky day. Brewed deep in the. Wait, go back.
ChatGPT
Brewed
had a
deep in
struggle
the
with
kid
that one.
in the what does it say?
Kidneys.
Brewed deep in the kidneys, aged for 37 minutes.
A long time.
Not vegan, unfortunately,
Ooh,
but
yeah, it does come from
that's okay.
animals. Mm-hmm.
all right. So we're really seizing a golden opportunity because whenever you have huge supply and zero demand, what is that? A great business opportunity. Step one, we need to build the supply chain first.
Also, Chaim is a Hebrew name, so because I'm Jewish, I'm like vibing with that instantly. I'm like, all right, these guys know. This is great. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. We offer urine testing for drug tests with a little fine print at the bottom. The customers will be paying us to take their urine, and then we mix it into a proprietary blend, biohacking.
I love
there we
it.
go.
Fuck them. Who's going to miss their urine? This is great.
There's more. We're learning from beloved brands, the big boys, and we're going to take the tricks and bring it to market. Firstly, for example, fun facts like Snapple. You know how they have fun, interesting facts in their bottle caps? Snapple innovated with these. An ostrich's brain is smaller than its eye. With Urine Luck, we will use our suppliers' medical data to create whiz wonders. 40% of women experience UTIs. One price customers love forever. You know how Arizona Tea has kept their drink at 99 cents
Yeah.
for 30 years?
Yeah.
Well, people pay us to give that as their ingredients. Cheap prices forever. And next one.
I just want to interrupt. Arizona
Yeah.
did retweet me. I just couldn't find it because Elon broke the search function on Twitter, but I promise it happened. It was a highlight of my life. Okay, next slide.
Amazing. We're going to do that too with our social medias, retweet people.
That's right.
And next up,
And that's our social media strategy.
we do contests. We're putting the luck in Urine Luck. So you know how Logan Paul made a solid prime bottle that you could find, or Mr. Beast put tickets to his chocolate factory into the chocolate bars? Well, we're going to have some bottles with golden kidney stones in them, granting free access to our water park.
Which I assume is also urine based.
There it is. There's the picture with you.
Whoa, ChatGPT made my face really fat.
You look more Russian in this one.
Yeah, like Gorbachev Russian.
Yes. We're going to have Dr. Mike's limited edition flavor, only 30 bottles a month, depending on your output, and 3
30
grams
now,
of trace proteins filtered by Dr. Mike's kidneys. Are you in?
Protein is not that high. I have healthy kidneys. We might have to put some Genius Shot in there. But it's better quality protein than the shit you're going to get out of my body. First of all, yes. I mean, this slide deck is like having Elon present like Tesla slide deck to you in 2005, where you're like, can I buy 50% of this now? Secondly, I already have ideas on how to expand. You're going to sell, like, you're going to have a few months, go on Oprah, etc., of like the urine being the big kicker. The thing is, how do you differentiate yourself from instant competitor brands? Because everyone can sell fucking urine, you guys, and they might even have a cooler bottle. We need instant gimmicks. We got to get into a few things. Who's the urine from? There's a white girl urine, black dude urine, because like I want a bigger cock. If drinking black guy urine going to get me a bigger cock, I'm not sure, but it's probably not a no, you know? It's like a maybe no, but maybe yes. And
Like how
so
coffee gets aerated when it's
Yeah.
air longer.
Yeah, 100%. So that is just a fucking instant go-to. And then so all the races, all the demographics, like promising young Harvard undergraduate urine. Like I want that zest. I want what like the freshman future founder of the next Facebook has coming out of his body in my mouth. And so I want that urine. The other thing is like, I'm not going to say it, but animal urine. Think about it.
Rhino?
Goat urine, Goats are natural. They're like more in touch with the earth than cows, maybe. Pig urine, chicken urine. I mean, the
I was
whole
thinking
thing.
like rhino. Why are you
Exotic
going
urine.
with goats and
Okay.
chicken?
Here's where.
Do chickens
this
even
is
have
tough.
urine?
I think they have cloacas, so they have that white bird shit coming out. It's all the same. It's troublesome. You're right. The chicken urine, it's just that died in the ideation phase.
It's the
I love
winter
it.
edition.
See, we are already doing a very good brainstorming process. What I'll say is this: I'm never going down the route of Liver King. I'm never going to lie to people ever about fucking products and quality. Rhino urine. Listen, Leon, we're not going to be able to source rhino urine. You go up to fucking Rhino and get his urine. You want to do that? No. So that's not going to happen. Unless the zoos, that's like 10 years in. We're like partnerships with zoos. Why just let your animals pee into the ground where they could pee? And because like, here's the thing. Half of our fucking funds that we get from the rhino urine profits go back into giving the rhinos like better enclosures and better food and better sanctuaries and preserves in Africa for rhinos. So that really like the rhinos are peeing their own fucking standard of living up. We could do that, but like it's just tough at first. So we got to make like deliverable promises. So at first, let's start with human urine. And then, you know, like the real tough thing is like, how do you get accomplished people to give you a urine line? Like when I buy like James Franco's urine, it needs to be really his urine. We're not going to do that bullshit where we're getting sued because we were just like some regular homeless dude's urine the whole time. Fuck no. Real urine. Because when everyone comes out with their bullshit fakes, we are already halfway to fucking getting Leonardo DiCaprio to pee in a cup. How much do you guys people think pay for that? We're in the fucking money. Easy.
Amazing.
Oh, hell yeah. You know what?
Sydney Sweeney is selling soap that contains her actual bathwater.
So,
Yep.
okay. I have a lot to say about this. I have a few friends who are very attractive fitness influencer people, and
Thank
all
you.
of them get the request for bathwater, usually from Middle Eastern men with lots of money. Middle Eastern men, y'all are the fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? I've never met a Middle Eastern man that'll turn down some white pussy ever my entire life. And so I think that is this real, by the way? Is she actually selling it?
I do think it's real.
Yeah. So like, I think this is fucking great. I like that it's a limited run for vibes. The problem is like, I don't want to be, you can't scale a business on limited runs. Like there's no limited run for a Tesla. You want a Tesla a week later, you got one. Mass production is the answer. Cause like limited runs are cool, but at the end of the day, like every human on earth, there's like 7 billion people or whatever. And I'm pretty sure they all want the good life. And so if I have to pay limited run availability and money for Sydney Sweeney, is that her name? I'm not in touch with modern culture. I'm, you know, like maybe she'll like stop making the fucking bathwater by the time I get around to it and I'll be upset. And so I'll just have to like deep fake her shit and jack off to AI generated porn that has her face on it. Like I don't currently do. So the thing is like she's on the right track, but she really needs to be like factories in Indonesia into which she like goes to the factory. There's 1,000 bathtubs lined up. She dips in one, steps out, dips in the other, steps out, dips in the other, steps out. It's like a day's work. All those bathtubs bottled Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. It's technically true. Now, then you could go and do that next level of monetization where you're like, okay, we have been selling you Sydney Sweeney's bathwater. It's true. And it really is her bathwater. But she was in there for a nominal amount of time. We need to make time brew blends where like Sydney Sweeney was in this bathtub for an hour. You can charge more for
Soaking overnight.
100%.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's too easy.
Amazing. Wow. It seems like we're leaving this episode with multiple business partnerships. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Huge ROI.
Urine, bathwater, no problem.
Amazing. And tons of clips. Amazing.
Tons of clips. Can we guarantee that after a long day of hard work, Sydney Sweeney didn't let a little dribble of urine get into some of that bathwater? We can't guarantee that. So in effect, it is also a partial urine product, maybe.
Wow.
I bet, real talk, LOL. Whatever they're paying for her bathwater, they pay a lot more for her urine. A lot more. Especially what direct from the source would probably be like $10 million a pop. But that's what Saudi Arabia is for.
Wow. Yes, 100%. It would pay
See
a
you
lot
guys
more.
in Saudi.
It would pay a lot more. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Dr. Mike.
This was terrible.
Thank you for coming on.
My quote unquote pleasure to be here. The lawyers say I have to say things like that. I hate you guys.
Now we're gonna set you up to for success, and by success we mean lots of views of you saying controversial things that will get you into trouble. So you can count on us for that.
It's not my first rodeo.
And hopefully see you again soon. Hopefully you get to work out with you at some point.
That would be dope.
I'll use the
You
law
guys,
of
this has been
attraction
awesome.
to make it happen.
Yes. The law of attraction will be gravity, and it'll be an 800-pound barbell on your chest for the bench press. We'll see how that works
Great.
out.
Let's do it. All right. Awesome.
Thanks
real
for coming
close.
on, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you later. Peace.
Thanks, Dr. Mike.
Bye-bye.
What'd you think? What'd you think of the episode?
Dude, he's great.
Cool. I don't have anything else to talk about. We should have some sort of segment after this, but
Well, what is the driven update? Do you have any updates?
I am now starting to post on the old channel again. And it's really fun. I'm having a grand old time if I can just yap once a week about, hey, here's what I learned this week. This is the idea of the format. I think I can I can build up some momentum there, bring more people over to the podcast if they want to. But even if they don't, I think it'll be fun to just put stuff out again. And man, lately I've really been hitting a level of momentum in my in the work where I wake up every morning and I'm like, I can't wait to get to work. And then I work until late. So whatever Mike was talking about with the burnout, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the like, oh, I need to do this. I think that's like the sign to look for. If you hate what you're doing, then you got to stop. You got to listen to your body. Specifically the body, like not the mind, not the like fearful mind of like, I want a cookie, but like, your body, if it starts like chilling, I think it's a good sign. But I'm currently in the mode where I'm just like, oh, I feel unstoppable. I feel so passionate about what we're doing, and it's so fun. And man, it just brings me back to the purpose of the whole podcast is just like fun and enjoyment is not in the way of your biggest goals. It's the only way to achieve them.
Well, Dr. Mike embodies that perfectly because it's like, dude is accomplished bodybuilding competitor, college professor, black belt, runs a great business, runs a great channel, makes great content that people love. And like on top of that, he's just clearly a goofball.
Yeah.
It's like work hard and play hard.
Yeah. It's like, I think anything that guy does, he infuses fun into it with his own sense of humor that, is not for everyone, but I think it's hilarious. And you can do the most mundane things and it's going to be fun. Also, he is one of the few people that I see online that are completely unfiltered. Not like me where I'm like, oh, what my visa? Like he literally, he doesn't care. And it just comes out and, it's like, it's very admirable because I think there's not many people that do that. Like a lot, especially when they have a business, there's always in the back of your mind is like, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, or not necessarily about like, I don't want to offend people, but like I've defined my brand to be this way. And so I don't want people to think this or that, and so I admire that a lot.
Yeah. Hearing that he has 6 weeks of backlog videos at any given time.
Well, and they don't even make weekly
crazy.
videos. They make 5 videos a week on one of the channels and then a couple on the other. Like,
so he has like 25 videos just ready to crank.
yeah,
That's amazing.
we have work to do. Yeah, that is crazy. Any other interesting updates? What have you learned recently?
What have I learned recently?
Nothing. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
It just cuts. No, was that actually something?
No.
Really?
No, end it there. That's a great place to end it.
Okay. You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. All right. Sounds good. Cool. Yeah, we'll stop the recording here.